Hey, what's up, everybody? Gm4 coming at you with another video. All right, game 4 ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Memphis Grizzlies. My personal favorite series thus far in these playoffs. Um, and we've seen some of the most drastic ebbs and flows that we've seen in any series of recent memory. I mean, the last game alone, we saw two 20 plus point leads blown um, by the Minnesota Timberwolves, of course, at home in the first playoff game that they've had in several years. Um, we saw a game where Karl Anthony Towns only attempted 4 shots, just 4 in the playoff game, and that is what ultimately the entire story should be about. Karl Towns bouncing back. We saw Pascal Siakam bounce back, but we've also seen some guys not bounce back who are struggling right now. Big names. What is he going to do? Are you going to bounce back? Are you going to play well in this game? Or are we going to continue to see struggles? What's the deal? Because Karl Anthony Towns attempting 4 shots, there's no excuse for that. I don't care if people are crowding you. I don't care if you having trouble getting a hold of the ball. I don't care if they're stealing the ball every other play. You're Karl Towns. Period. You're Karl Towns. I've been on record more than once calling you the greatest 3-point shooting center in the game's history. I think the numbers back that up rather easily if anyone wants to check him out. But he's gonna have to take the shots. He can get in the paint, dunk on people. He has nice turnaround moves in the paint. He's a pretty solid player, all array around the court, and obviously he is a well conditioned center. I've enjoyed seeing him run the floor this year, and I just feel like he's done a great deal of work to put himself in a position to be ready for this moment. And for him to cheat himself by only attempting 4 shots in a home playoff game, where he's been accused of being soft, where he's had people like Jimmy Butler come in and question his desire to play hard. For all the stuff that goes on with all the woofing and all the stuff that goes on with the Timberwolves, and that's all he gonna give his team is 4 points. That's all he giving those fans is 4 shot attempts. That unacceptable. Doesn't do it justice. He needs to play better. Period. He needs to do that. He needs to do it for his own sake. He needs to do it for the Timberwolves. And there's not going to be any excuses made for him at all. Unacceptable. Period. And it will affect how people look at you going forward. So you can't erase that, but you can go forward and play better. And I expect him to do that. He had some good moments earlier in this series, made it so that they had to sit Steven Adams down. So it's not like Karl Towns is in the middle of some great slump or anything. He just needs to be aggressive. He just needs to get angry and needs to take it out on the other team. Memphis is going to do the gritty and all kinds of different stuff out there. They've been talking crap all season long about anybody who will listen to them. They want all the smoke. Somebody needs to give them what they're looking for. And Minnesota has the matchups to give them enough trouble, to say the least, to be honest. I think Patrick Beverley needs to get a bit more involved in terms of rallying the troops and getting them to understand the value of playing hard for 48 minutes, both at home and on the road. These are the playoffs. Every possession matters, etc., etc. All that stuff needs to be reiterated by him. I look at him as the leader on this team, even though he's not the most talented. He is the guy who understands what the moment's about. He is the guy who has the most passion about winning, about getting into the other team's head, about making sure that they know the pride of what it is that they're wearing, their colors, etc. He's one of the best people in the league, in my opinion, for making you feel the representative wrath of the fan base he represents. He's one of the best players for that. He gonna represent how the fans feel. He gonna go out there and push people around. He gonna go out there and scream. He gonna go out there and draw charges. He gonna go out there and hit big 3-point shots. And even though he's not the most gifted ball player, he's gonna do things that's gonna help others get the most out of themselves if they follow him in regards to letting that energy that he provides be infectious to them. So Karl Towns, you got Patrick Beverley on your team. There should be no reason for you to only attempt 4 shots. He should be somebody you should be looking forward to piggyback from in terms of energy. Anthony Edwards, young fella. Nothing wrong with him at all. He just needs to continue to grow. I think there's too much pressure on him to turn into the star that we know he can be. Obviously, you look over at John Morant, you look over at Desmond Baines, you see youngsters that are making an impact in this series. You want him to do the same, but you don't want him to force things and start getting into a situation where he makes mistakes. That can beget his confidence going the other way, and it can turn into a slump. So play within the flow of the game. Grab as much rim as possible. And get to the line is what I would tell him. If the three-point shots start to fall, I would encourage all his teammates to get him the ball, because that boy can get hot, stay hot for the rest of the game. I will not be surprised to see him break some type of weird three-point record or something like that. He's got superstar level streakiness, and I see it early in him. It's superstar level streakiness. I'm telling you, he's a guy who can hit 15 threes in one game. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I would not be surprised before he retires some point in time down the road if he's broken some ridiculous streak record, because he has a gift for that, and so on and so forth. So I think he's not the greatest shooter in the world, but I'm telling you, he's one of the people. Once he sees it goes through, another one's going, another one's going, another one's going, another one's going, another one's going. He's got a gift for it. So. We'll see that manifest over the years. Maybe even see it tonight. Who knows? But he is at home. He didn't play that great in the last game, and we know he can drop 40 today. You don't have to wait 2 years for that. He can do that right now. So I'd expect him to step up. D'Angelo Russell has played very well in this series. I want to give him his credit. I've liked what I've seen from him. His limitations have been spoken about more so than his strengths, and he's played a really solid series. He's going to have to continue to do that, and he's going to have to put up big points, especially if they're not going to get points from Karl Towns. 4 attempts. I'm going to really beat that like a dead horse, because that's just, he talks too much ish to come into a playoff game and not show no urgency to score the basketball. He ain't good enough defensively to only attempt the ball to only attempt to shoot the ball 4 times. It's a disrespect to defensive players who lock people down, who get the criticism for not attempting shots. And there's a lot of them. This guy only averaged 4 points. He sucks. No, he's out there busting his backside, making sure that he stops the other guy from scoring 40. Karl Towns don't do that. Why the hell is he only attempting 4 shots? Unacceptable. That's one of the problems I've had with Karl Towns too, is he needs to get better defensively. You're too long, you're too big, you're too menacing to not be more effective defensively. You got guys who are less in their back pocket that are more effective defensively than him. I'm calling them out on both sides of the floor because it's the playoffs. And quite honestly, as great of a player as he's capable of being, he didn't just lead them there. It was a lot of things that came together to make the Minnesota Timberwolves as good as they are. And I could argue, if you replace him with somebody else at his position, the Timberwolves will still be there. And that is not a good thing for him. He needs to knock that off. You know what I mean? That notion that I have that I don't really believe in Karl Towns, he needs to change that. Because it's no reason for him to have the skill set and the body that he has and the touch to shoot the ball the way that he does and be in the conditioning that he's in for any of this to be coming out of my mouth. So that I'm gonna really get on his case, man. Especially since he's somebody who I think may one day end up wearing purple and gold. Don't do that. Don't be somebody I already don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. And that's exactly what's going on there. He's gonna have to prove he's somebody that can lead a team. I look at that as Patrick Beverley's team today. It's gonna be Anthony Edwards' team tomorrow, and that is a direct shot at Karl Anthony Towns. So I want him to take that and use it as motivation to go hard if he were ever to see that. This is a situation tonight where Memphis Grizzlies, hey, John Morant, different circumstances in terms of how I view him, but the story is going to remain the same as I address him. If you talk a lot, play up, play hard. He had a triple-double in the last game. Keep it going, because you've also had big deficits in this series. Down by 25, down by 20. What game was that y'all lost? Lost game 1. Y'all ain't out of the woods. I'm happy that Desmond Baines is playing well. He needed to get back into this series and make an impact in the series. He did that in the last game. Now if they can only get Brooks and him and Ja to all play well at the same time, they'll really be doing something. Jaren Jackson Jr., consistent from the defensive end, help him along the way offensively. He's one of those guys that doesn't need to shoot a million times because he's guarding Karl Towns and guarding Vanderbilt, etc. Speaking of Vanderbilt, he needs to continue to do what it is that he does. Rebound that basketball, man. You're turning into one of the better rebounders out there, and I'm very aware of that. Keep that up. The Timberwolves are a better team when McDaniels is scoring the ball. One of the things that worked for them in that first game was him being able to hit the mid-range shot, getting out of transition, grabbing rim, etc. More Vandy, more McDaniels. That's a recipe for success for Minnesota. I do think they should reach into their bench and trust some of those guys on their bench, because their bench is actually one of the benches that I trust more so than some of the benches that are using their bench more so than them. I like the McLaughlin kid. I like Okeke. I like some of these other guys on that Timberwolves bench that they don't use. I think they should dig in there and trust some of those guys. They're built for these moments, and if they were on other teams, they'd have roles in these moments. I think the Timberwolves should trust some of the cats. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Brandon Clark is playing well in this series. Give him his flowers. Get that man his props. He's had his struggles. We've talked about it. He's playing well. Keep that up. Zaire Williams, fantastic rookie. Yet another one of those guys, if he were given a different situation, let's say if he was in Denver instead of Bones Highland, he'd be doing the same things Bones is doing. He's just in a different situation that doesn't require for him to do as much. But that is a young stud right there who's going to help you on both sides of the floor. And you can see the upside is immense. Memphis got another one. Zaire Williams. So I just look at that Memphis team as a fantastic young squad. Xavier Tillman is a player that can play some big minutes for you tonight if necessary. Since they've removed Steven Adams from the series, I'd expect he's going to play well. Didn't play his best game in the last one. I'd expect him to play better tonight. Slow-mo, continuing to make his presence felt at all times. You got to keep an eye on him. He's sneaky, but he's solid. Very, very smart. And he's going to continue to make his impact felt. Guys are better on the floor when he's down there with them. Just have this sheer notion of him getting people the ball and doing the things that he does. A very big guard. You can play forwards and all of that. I really like Slow-mo for this team, and he's very solid for this series. So, all in all, it's Karl Towns. Karl Towns. That's it. Your team lost by, 11 points? And you attempted 4 shots. Does anybody else, is there anything else to say? If you want to win, you got to contribute to the success of the team. You can't just sit there and be and win skills competitions and all that and think people are going to see you in the light that you deserve to be seen in. You have to win when it matters. This is your opportunity to show that you're a playoff performer, and this is what we get. I'm not feeling it. I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling. He should not be okay with any of this. He should come out tonight with the intent of giving us the polar opposite. He should put up his best line ever tonight if he really wants to prove that he isn't what he just showed us. Because a disappearing act at home, when the series is tied, if you can't be motivated for that, bro, what are we doing? So that's what it is, man. Karl Towns. I want to believe in you. Do something about it. That's that. And as far as this game's concerned, I'm not going to make a prediction for this particular game because of what I just did right now. If I'm going to call somebody out, I don't want to make a prediction because I don't want to, I don't want to further that positioning in any way. I just want to put that out there and let it be. Obviously, he ain't going to see it, but it doesn't matter because that's, you're going to play along. Play along with me. So this is what we're doing. I think at the end of the day, I picked the Memphis Grizzlies to win this series in 6, so I'll stay with the pick on the series. But tonight, it's not about me making picks. It's about whether or not Karl Towns is going to bounce back and play well. If he does, I think his team will probably win because it's a home game, and I ain't expecting Minnesota, particularly Edwards and people like Beverly, to play anything less than stellar tonight. They should have more energy. They should feel embarrassed about the last game. And most importantly, they should be very much expecting Memphis's best. So in a home situation, I expect that to translate. And I think we will see a Minnesota hard-fought game. That's what we'll say. No prediction. So that's what I got, man. That's what I got. I'm very much looking forward to this one. It's going to be very exciting. BDF44, thank you all for watching. I'm out.